Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Hope yours is going well. We've got another Seahawks video to get to today, but first we just hit 3,290 subscribers to the channel. I want to give a shout out to all the subscribers, and special tip of the cap goes to the channel members, especially elite channel members, Brendon, Mikel, Hasher for MVP, VGK Tiger 75, Ryguy, Salacious Crumb, Brendan Nelson's Haircut, TlVlO, ItsHoof, The Reno, 12th Man, Austin Roberts, Scott Todd, and P.H. Glass. All right, it's time. We've got about 2 days and a couple of hours before the start of the 2021 NFL Draft. It is time for me to reveal my final big board, a final list of how I would rank players and how I would categorize them going into this draft. The players that I want the Seahawks to target, the players that I think the Seahawks will target, and the approximate order in which I would prioritize them. Okay, so before I actually pull up the big board here, because I have this all saved into some nice text documents and we'll be going over it over the course of the next 10 to 15 minutes, I want to stress a couple things. First of all, I have about 90 to 100 total players ranked on my big board. They are not the only players who are worth taking in this draft. During this process of collecting scouting reports and player data, I actually encountered many players who were suggested to me by watchers and users and commenters who I could have put in these lists and felt very good about it, but I decided to keep it to the guys I actually scouted in my videos. So guys like, I don't know, Tamarian Terry. I'm not saying they're bad. Just because they're not ranked here doesn't mean they're bad. I just didn't rank them. If we draft a player like, say, Tamarian Terry this weekend, then I'm probably going to feel quite good about it. I just didn't want to put them in here because I didn't make videos specifically scouting that player. Second of all, while I have tried to put these players in some order, the tiers are much more important than the actual order. So don't take the exact order too seriously. Try to use the tiers. So with that in mind, let's take a look at how I am ranking the prospects that I'm targeting. So let's see here. All right. So I've separated the players into 5 tiers, and within those tiers we have some divisions between divisions between the players that I really like and the players who I'm a little more bearish on, but still like enough to list. So this is the platinum tier, and it's the first tier we're going to be taking a look at. It features the 7 players who I would want to take at 56 overall, which is where our first pick currently resides, or after a small trade down to get, some small asset, a trade back like 2 or 3 spots. So these 7 players who I would want to take in the second round are Eric Stokes, Samuel Cosme, De'Ami Brown, Dylan Radnuns, Pat Freiermuth, Effiatu Melifonwu, and Jalen Mayfield. Those are my cream of the crop guys. Those are the best players I think we could get at 56. Now, and one more caveat. If somebody falls by some crazy miracle fluke, like, I don't know, Caleb Farley or J.C. Horn, of course I want to jump on that. But that strikes me as impossible. These guys are somewhat unlikely to fall to us, but I think it's possible. So if somebody like a Caleb Farley starts free falling, then we can have that conversation in stream. All right. That's the platinum tier. Let's go to the gold tier. This is tier number 2. These are guys who I would want to take at the very back end of the second round or the top half of the third round. These are the prospects that I would like to get after a modest trade back from 56. They are Kelvin Joseph, Brevin Jordan, Nico Collins, amon-ra St. Brown, Walker Little, Tyson Campbell, Alex Leatherwood, and Jackson Carman. I like all these prospects to certain degrees. Some of them I'm not 100% sure on the fit. Like once you get down here to the bottom half of this list, Walker Little has serious injury concerns. Tyson Campbell's wingspan is a little weak. Leatherwood and Carman might not play tackle in the NFL. We don't know. So I still like them as prospects, but I'm a little less sure about the fit. But these are the guys that I would like to take in the gold tier, which is basically top half of the third round. Okay, so that gets us through the best prospects so far. We've gone through 17 so far. These are kind of my 17 premiered prospects, and I would really like to come away with one in this draft. Just give me one of these guys. I feel like they can contribute as rookies, and it'll make our team that much better in 2021. So now let's go to tier number 3. I call this the silver tier. These are guys that I would expect to be able to get in the bottom half of the third round or the top half of the fourth round. These are some guys who I wouldn't necessarily expect to do a ton as rookies. These are more projects. We are probably going to get one of these players, one of the players in this range anyway. So my guys in the silver tier are Benjamin St. Just, Israel Mukuamu, Tommy Tremble, James Hudson, Chaz Surratt, Spencer Brown, Hunter Long, Marlon TlVlO, Sean Wade, and Dylan Moses. Now, one thing I want to say here real quick before we move on is that guys like Chaz Surratt and Dylan Moses will probably go higher than this. They will probably go in the top 80, or at least they have a good chance to. So what I'm saying is not an indictment on where I think they will get drafted. I'm saying if they got to this point in the draft, I would start considering using a pick on them. I do not want to use a top 80 pick on a linebacker. That strikes me as a bad idea. But if they fall, then I'm interested. And I'm not saying that because I think they are flawed players or bad players or anything like that or overrated. I just don't want to use that asset on that kind of player. So understand that. All right, next up, we're going to start on the bronze tier. This is tier number 4. This one's a little bit longer. So this is the first half of bronze tier. These are players that I expect to go anywhere from the bottom end of the 4th all the way through the 5th-ish. So my bronze tier targets are Emer Smith-Marset, Austin Watkins, Kenny Yeboah, Josh Palmer, Dan Moore Jr., Simi Fioco, Demetric Felton, Sage Surratt, Keith Taylor Jr., Elijah Griffin, Rodarius Williams. And then we go into a part 2 of the bronze list. Trey McKitty, Stone Forsythe, Garrett Wallow, Robert Hainsley, Seth Williams, Adrian Ely, Jamar Jefferson, Chris Evans, Kylan Hill, Bobby Brown III, and Ernest Jones. Again, I did try to put the players in some degree of order, but the tiers matter much more than the order. So don't spend too much time taking a look at the exact order I put players in. Like, I could put Bobby Brown a couple spots up and I wouldn't really notice the damn difference, but they're in rough order. Again, with the few amount of picks that we have, it's more likely we'll be just trying to get whatever we can when our picks come up rather than having an amazing selection to choose from. So these were the guys I expect to go in the bottom half of the 4th or the 5th. The 5th and final tier will be reserved for 6th round on. Because once you get down to the 6th round, it's a complete crapshoot whether or not you get drafted. Once you get down to that point, whether or not you get drafted can come down to whether or not a butterfly flaps his wings in Africa. It's just really hard to predict. So with that in mind, 5th and final tier, let's go. Copper tier. Drew Dahlman, Alaric Jackson Jr., Nick Eubanks, Michael Minette, Rico Busi Jr., TJ Vasher, Marlon Williams, Jimmy Morrissey, Mark Gilbert, Josh Ball, Frank Darby, Ryan McCollum, Kendrick Green, Tay Gowan, Antonio Phillips, Nate Hobbs, Damon Hazelton, Mark Webb. And then part 2, Carrie Angeline, John Bates, Matt Bushman, Tommy Doyle, Jalen Moore, Royce Newman, Drew Himmelman, Jared Dokes, Tony Poljan, Des Fitzpatrick, Kier Iris Tonga, to Darrell Slayton, Naquan Jones, Justin Hilliard, Amen Ogbongbemiga, Riley Cole, Isaiah McDuffie, Tony Fields, and Anjuwan Simmons. And that will take us to the end, guys. Those are the prospects that I think are worth some degree of draft capital. Now, when we get to the back end of this list, like this page right here, these guys you're looking at right now, these guys I'm more undrafted free agent rookie types. You know, I don't really want to use even a 7th round pick on them. I want to bring them in as UDFAs, see what they can do, kick the tires, and we'll go from there. But yeah, the guys on this page I view as being more UDFA type prospects for the most part. Or if you have to use a draft pick on one of them, then I don't really want them. But that is my big board. Again, not every player worth including got included. I'm one man working at one computer. I can't scout everybody, and I'm not going to be able to give a full evaluation of every player in this draft class. I can't do that. But that's my big board. Let me know what you think in the comments. These are the big boards that I will be using in the draft streams. And you'll see how I use them once the draft starts. So tonight, we're going to do a mock draft simulation extravaganza. Please come out to the stream, watch it, comment, let me know what you think. I'm going to need some help from the commenters to sift through the data. So come on out tonight. I don't know exactly when it's going to start, but it should be tonight. And we will figure out exactly what kinds of draft classes the Seahawks could pull this weekend. So I'm going to get out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. Again, mock draft extravaganza. Do not miss it. Or if you do miss it, try to watch it later because we're going to have a lot of fun. And yeah, that's my final big board going into 2021. See you guys later.